What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Titus, and today I wanted to share something with you guys. So we beat Boxing Club. We got a speed team for Boxing Club. We beat Heavy Metal, and now adding another notch to the belt, we've beat Stage 10 Venomancer Deathlab. Well, I guess this guy's name is Venomancer, but the name of the dungeon's Deathlab. So, much like the last video I did, I wanted to show you guys a completely free-to-play team that you can run, anybody can get their hands on. Except one thing that I would be remiss about doing is when I made this team, I double-checked to see if anybody else was running it, because I didn't want, I didn't want people to think that I had just stolen someone's team. And lo and behold, we have Load here. And Load is running the exact same team we are. The only difference between their team and our team is they have a bunch of luck. We do not. And they run Occult Dancer as the lead, where we are running Fire Popo Rider. Now, the team is the exact same. I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of kind of how the team functions, what everyone's role is, and then I'll show you guys a run and we'll wrap up from there. So, we start with Fire Popo Rider because 4 out of our 5 members are Fire Elemons. And so that extra attack is really nice. Now, realistically, you could put Occult Dancer in the lead to get even more crit, which is really nice because with the positive affinity, the dungeon lead together is already 32% crit. And then with the A2 of our Fire Sharpshooter, we're getting another 30% crit, which means that in total, before any other stats that you add to the Elemons, you're getting 62% crit, which means you only need to gear for 38%, which also, is going to give you a lot of damage as well. Now, what I found is, personally, it doesn't seem to make a huge deal, and the way that I was kind of gearing them out, crit was at more of a premium. So, starting with Fire Popo Rider, we've got her built for damage. Now, of course, we're basically just importing her over as is from Heavy Metal because we don't want to mess with her too much. We have a functioning Heavy Metal team, and I'll be honest, Deathlab is honestly, after tuning Boxing Club and figuring out a team to beat Heavy Metal, I won't lie to you guys that Deathlab actually, I was expecting to be a lot harder, and it just wasn't. It was actually easier, in my opinion, to gear for than Heavy Metal. So we're bringing Fire Popo Rider. Now, on the A3, we're bringing the speed down and the action bar increase. Action bar increasing and decreasing effects do not actually work in this dungeon. However, having an AoE speed down in a positive affinity, I'm pretty sure Fire Popo Rider is the only Nat 3 where you're getting that. Then on the A2, we're getting a big smack, the max target HP. And on the A1, we're applying a blind, which is nice for making sure that the AoEs from the boss don't do too much damage. Moving on from there, we've got Fire Steel Wing, and again, we're building them tanky, we're building them for accuracy. These are basically our 2 most important things, right? Speed's another one where at least hitting 140 is nice, but the boss is going to cap everybody at 140. So the more important thing than pumping a lot of speed is actually getting speed tuned, because we want the team to run in a specific way every single time. Then we've got Fire Sharpshooter. She's great. Again, on the A3, you can't absorb his turn or the action bar, but it is a 6-time hitter, and usually on average 2 to 3 hits will hit the boss. So that's nice for getting rid of protective scales. A2, same thing, allying with 2 other Elemons to attack, getting those protective scales down so you actually can deal damage. And then on the A1, again, defense down, perfect for increasing the damage you're going to do. Then we have Light Steel Wing. Light Steel Wing is here for 2 reasons, basically. He's here for the debuff removal and the immunity, which is nice because on the boss, aside from all the things that the boss does, his minions on either side, one is giving the boss 50% HP every time it goes off, and the other one is doing an AoE taunt for 1 turn. So having a cleanse or having an immunity is really, really nice for the taunt. And he's also on the A2 bringing a 3-hitter with Incurable so that the other totem can't heal the boss. Same thing with the Fire Steel Wing on his A2. Also, he's bringing a heal and the attack up. So again, getting through the waves and getting through the boss faster. Finally, Occult Dancer, big one here. We're getting a quad hitter on the A3 where we're getting another chance for defense down. We're also applying a speed up to all allies. Again, turn meter manipulation doesn't work, but speed buffs do. Then the nice part is we're also bringing buff extension, which means the attack buff, the crit buff, the speed buff, and the immunity buff. We're extending all of those buffs so that if the team is getting on the right cycle, you never have to worry about being taunted, anything like that, right? Outside of that, she's also bringing on her A1 a big HP smack. We're bringing double hitters on both of the Steel Wings. Light Steel Wing also has a chance to heal, which is nice. And so looking at the builds, like I said, Fire Popo, we're getting crit capped, and then we're building a bit tanky, a little bit of speed. Again, we could do less speed, but because we're also using her in heavy metal, we don't want to mess with it too much. Then Fire Steel Wing, same thing, tanky, accuracy. Those are those 2 most important things that are the reason we're bringing him. If you can get a little bit of luck, a little bit of extra crit rate, that'll make your runs even better. But right now, as I've put the team together, that's not really what we're focusing on. Then we have Fire Sharpshooter. Again, she's our nuker. So generally speaking, Fire Sharpshooter, the perfect kind of equilibrium is 55% crit and as much attack and crit damage as you can. Now, 55% crit rate, because when you're attacking with positive affinity, you're getting an extra 15%, boosting you to 70. And then with your A2, you're always having a crit buff, which is the other 30%. So if you can get it at a standard 55% and pump as much attack and crit damage as possible, that's going to be absolutely the best bet for her. Now, Light Steel Wing, same thing as Fire Steel Wing. We're making them tanky. We're giving them a little bit of speed. We could do less, but I had a hard time with the runes kind of equaling it out, so I just kind of left it as is. We could do a little more accuracy just because of the Incurable, but the way it runs, normally he's not actually the one that puts the Incurable on. So then from there, again, if we a little bit of crit damage, a little bit of crit rate, but realistically, the 2 people that you would want to be your luck mules above anybody else would be both of the Steel Wings. And then you could kind of work it into Occult Dancer and Fire Popo, but realistically, Fire Popo is kind of like your secondary DPS. Occult Dancer, as you can see here, we're leaning more into her A1 damaging than we are any luck right now. This is again just a kind of an early team build that has consistently gotten me through. I think I've run this dungeon 30-40 times now, no failure. We brought her to 57 crit rate again with the positive affinity and the crit buff. She'll be completely capped out. Pumped as much crit damage as possible. Didn't worry about the attack because the A1 is a target HP scaling. So we're really just relying on the crit happening with all the crit damage and scaling off the max HP rather than giving her extra attack. Although, like I said, we do have an attack lead with Fire Popo, so she can do some respectable damage. Outside of that, realistically, you don't need a ton of accuracy on her because the defense down is nice, but she's bringing defense down. Fire Sharpshooter bringing defense down, and it's not a crucial debuff. It will make your runs faster, but it doesn't make your runs more consistent, or they're not crucial debuffs like, say, Incurable or Speed Down, where those are really, really important buffs, right? Because she's only bringing one debuff, and outside of that, you know, she's extending and big smacking on the A1. So if you could work in a little more accuracy, sure, but I haven't found it to matter all that much. Same thing with Fire Sharpshooter. 5 accuracy. We're not even worried about it. So I'm gonna show you guys a run, and then we'll jump in. And like I said, I want to give a shout out to Load. It's funny, I didn't use the strategy specifically for this one because I wanted to have kind of the same thing where I wanted to show as much of a free-to-play team as possible, and I just checked it to see if anybody else was actually running this team, and because I knew that people ran, for instance, if you can, right, if we'll bring up the wrong tab, if we bring up the strategy, a lot of people running Light Popo Rider literally every dungeon, but a big mainstay for this dungeon that a lot of people talk about is Light Pumpkin Freak, and I do have Light Pumpkin Freak, so I might build him out to make this more of a speed team, because as you can see, he's in usually most of the speed teams, although of course all the speed teams also have, you know, Light Popo Rider, which I don't, so, but I digress. Mostly because Pumpkin Freak also has Incurable on his A3, a multi-hitter, and he's also teaming up with a bunch of allies, so he's going to help speed up the boss specifically as well. When I checked, I saw that Load had pretty much the exact same team, and I wanted to make sure I shouted him out so that nobody thought that I stole this team from this person and, you know, didn't at least mention them and me having the exact same team. I don't know how they have it set up, but basically our setup is everyone's going to go. Fire Popo goes first because getting that speed down as fast as possible is the most important thing in my mind. Then we're getting the attack up, and we're getting the attack up from Fire Steel Wing. We're getting the crit up from Fire Sharpshooter, immunity from Light Steel Wing, and then Occult Dancer comes in and spins and extends all of our buffs. And then from there, we just smack into the boss, get rid of his protective scales, all that stuff. Beautiful thing, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do a run real quick, and I'll catch you guys at the end. All right, and so as you can see there, that's the run pretty much every time. Now, I will say, if you do the run every once in a while, you will notice that sometimes the taunt will actually land on your team, but I've actually had the taunt land on my team multiple times in one run, and I've never actually had it ruin the run. I've only had it make it so that the run takes a little bit longer. But other than that, as a short recap, like I said, Fire Popo Rider, basically whatever she's built for in heavy metal, you're just porting her straight over, right? Trying to get crit capped. I could definitely deal with more crit damage. And then, you know, make her tanky with high accuracy, right? Same thing, Fire Steel Wing, make them tanky, accuracy, and then you could probably pump luck. Same thing with the Light Steel Wing. And then Fire Sharpshooter, you're just going as much damage as possible. And Fire Occult Dancer, you can play around with her a little bit, you know what I mean? Her A1s don't smack even terribly hard, as you guys saw, even with the crit all the crit damage she does have. So you might also want to make her a bit of a luck mule and then just make her tanky and somewhat fast, You know what I mean? So that's it, guys. That's the video. That's the team. Anybody can build this. And the best part is, if you actually can't see it here because I have this on, but if we stop the speeds, most of these champions don't even need to be level 60 either. I would suggest Fire Sharpshooter definitely needs to be 60. Fire Popo Rider should probably be 60. Fire Steel Wing, Light Steel Wing, Occult Fire Dancer, or Fire Occult Dancer, they can be 50 still, and you will breeze through this no problem. I actually was very surprised at how easy Death Lab was compared to Heavy Metal. So we're going to keep chugging along. Next up, we're either going to take on Vegas or Anonymous. I'm not 100% sure which. I think it'd be easier to build a team for Anonymous than Vegas, but I'm going to try and sink my teeth into those. And hopefully by the end of this week and sometime next week, I should have all 5 dungeons posted. I'll have a quick guide video, whatever, for the teams that I used. We can celebrate my victories together. And then, you know, from there, I'll probably start cracking into Abyssal Dungeons. But if you like what you saw, guys, let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that fancy YouTube stuff. It really helps me over here run this channel. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it feels good to see all of the subscribers that I've been gaining and seeing you guys pouring out with the likes and the comments and all that stuff. That just, I don't know, you know, waking up in the morning and checking my channel and seeing all that stuff, it, you know, it puts a pep in my step. It gives me, you know, it gives me the motivation to get out of bed and do this stuff, you know? So anyway, guys, that's been all for me. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, I'll see you.